injury report for today. P. Ryan, Avery will not participate in practice today. Frank will be held out. This will be consistent throughout the year where he won't practice on Thursdays. He'll always go on Wednesdays and Fridays. Limited will be Alex Lewis, Joe Flacco, Basham. Marcus Maye is still kind of a question mark on whether he'll be limited. So we'll kind of we'll know more once we get going in practice. But that's one just we'll circle back with you guys once we kind of get out there. So with that, any questions you guys have?
Did Avery do something to his hamstring yesterday?
It was, I think, when it kind of was bothering him when they were working out the other day, and yesterday he didn't feel right, so we pulled him out of practice, and then today we're not going to have him participate.
Did that factor into the Ogletree addition?
No, that was probably going to happen no matter what.
Adam, I was going to follow up on Ogletree. Is it still weird for you to see a guy like that who had a $42 million contract, a 7-year veteran, signed to the practice squad? And I guess, is that an advantage of this year's rules?
I think it's an advantage of this year's rules, especially the opportunity to kind of come in and kind of see where you're at physically and kind of get yourself ready, not being with us in camp. I don't think we're the only ones that are doing that with some guys. It's a great opportunity for guys that kind of really not put themselves in a bad position where they get rushed into an active roster spot. And now you have a guy that has some kind of injury, whether it's a soft tissue deal or a major injury. We actually have a chance to get him out there, move him around, get him in our program, reacquaint him with the defense. He knows his defense probably better than most people. So, I'm really interested just competing against him as many times as I have been on the other sideline. I've seen him make a lot of great plays. So I'm excited to see him out there.
Just in general, how do you feel about, age and year restrictions on practice squads now that you've seen that, older teams are adding older veterans to the practice squad?
Yeah, I'm all for, anytime we can just bring in guys to help us, whether it's on the practice squad, active roster, being able to get guys around that are older and put them on the practice squad so they can, find a role. It's just I'm all for it.
Adam, is that something that you'd like to see maybe continue beyond this year in some form? Maybe not 4 guys, but maybe 1 or 2, beyond, to see how it works. Like, not just for you guys. The whole.
Tell me what the rules are, and that's I'm all for doing that. So I don't know. I got other things to focus on.
So just bookkeeping wise, you guys are at 52 now, correct? So you have the ability. So you're going to add 3 more by the game time.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Rich, I know you want to know, who are they?
Well, we have a roster pool, a beat writer roster pool on the line here, so that's why I'm
not going to tell you.
Yeah, and then you'll use the 2 extra inactives too, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Adam, given how training camp went and how unlucky plus you were, especially with your receivers being available, do you feel pretty fortunate in this week? You didn't list, I don't think you listed for us any receivers that had any limitations today. And I'm just wondering, can Mims be on the field competing against the Bills on Sunday?
Yeah, he definitely could. I'm looking at it like this is not going to happen overnight as far as making sure these guys are ready for a 70-play game. Whoever we have available, whoever's active for this game, every guy's going to be ready to play. And we got to make sure that we manage this right. This is a situation where I look at it as we can't come out of this game, the next game, this first month of the season. We can't come out of this first part of the season and somebody has an injury because we're not smart with it. So, it's always easier said than done, because once you start getting in the game and it gets competitive and guys don't want to come out of the game, and you don't want to bring guys out of the game, especially if they're doing well. So you're walking a tightrope on this, but you gotta try to make the smart moves when the opportunities present themselves.
But Adam, is it fair that if we go back several weeks, you would have taken where you are now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we were down to 6 wideouts
Right.
for the majority of the camp. So,
Adam, do you think that if you improve your early down success rate this year, that will help you be a better third down team?
100%. I mean, it was absolutely atrocious, everything last year. You can just throw all that out. All the stats were terrible. We have to be better on first and second down. We have to avoid negative plays. When we do put ourselves in third and seven or less, we got to execute. We got to make sure that we're right on protections. We got to get the ball out on time. I mean, there's a lot of things that when we went back and looked at through all those situations, whether it be a first and second down situations, third down, when we break it up, it was, there's a lot of groaning going on, especially from players, not happy with some of the things that when you look back at it now, their knowledge now compared to what it was when we were playing last year, especially at the beginning of the year, it's so much different to where, guys would be like, why would I do that? I should have just did this. We would have got the first, like things like that. And that's part of the growth. And it's frustrating when you're going through it. And when you do as poorly as we did that first half of the season, it just crushes you for the whole season. But there was so much positive turnaround. We had really good games and we had good conversions. We had better first and second down. And we just got to make sure that we do that earlier in the season this year and be consistent throughout the year.
What lessons did you learn from the back half of last season that can help you get to a faster start this year?
Well, I mean, it really comes down to that team chemistry is going to be important. Just kind of making sure that we do the right thing as far as managing our personnel, making sure we're getting everybody involved, spreading the ball around, doing a good job of making sure we're good in the run game, which can help play action, keeps you in, third and manageable situations. I feel like if we can keep on track, at least eliminating the turnovers as much as possible. I know that they're going to happen at some point, but just really trying to keep our turnover margin high, throughout the year. That's going to be, key for us. It's taking it one game at a time and just trying to make sure whatever we do in that game, we got to learn a lot really fast. Our guys, we got to absorb things quickly.
Adam, what makes Buffalo's defense so tough?
I think their continuity is something that I would say is gives them an advantage compared to a lot of other defenses, because those guys, I feel like this is the 7th time I'm playing Sean. I feel like I'm talking about the same guys that are playing for a long time. And the pieces they've added have all been the right guys, very highly intelligent, good athletes, fit into the scheme very well, execute his vision extremely well. Like, you can tell those guys play great as a group, and they all know their role. So, that's the first part that makes it difficult, outside of them just having a lot of really good players. They make it tough on you. They create enough negative plays. It's chaotic when you play them. You feel like they're playing with 12, 13 guys on the field sometimes, because it's just they're penetrating, their guys blitzing all over the place, they're lining up with a bunch of different stuff. I mean, they cause you a lot of problems.
We'll take a few more for Coach.
Adam, is there any more excitement? I mean, every year you're excited, but because of what's going on this year, there was probably a point where people didn't even think there'd be football, and you're playing this Sunday. Is there any more excitement because of that?
I think it's exciting to know that we're going to play somebody besides ourselves. I mean, that's something that's – I know a lot of guys, you can tell there was a different energy out there as far as knowing, hey, this is week 1. The practice schedule changes a little bit. The meeting times are a little different. It's the only thing that's weird is in a lot of – I've heard a lot of guys talk about this, is just not having any preseason games of all of a sudden you're going from practice and now it's here we go. This is a real thing. And, you know, I said it yesterday. I mean, everything goes up. I mean, the speed, the anxiety, you know, execution's got to go through the roof from, you know, just being out of practice and making a mistake. You know, hey, let's go back and fix it. You make one in one of these games now, it could be the difference between winning and losing.
Adam, it's Kim again. Do you definitely expect to have Marcus on Sunday? I know you mentioned today maybe iffy on that. And have you seen Marcus Maye blossom with kind of the opportunity that's been presented to him leadership wise and just as a person on this team?
You know, I one of the things that, at least for me, seeing him last year, competing against him, but then seeing him work day in, day out, starting in the spring and then through training camp, you know, last year, and then he made a ton of huge plays for us. I mean, I know he was in the middle of the field a lot of times, but man, when a ball was thrown in his direction, he got his hands on quite a few balls. I mean, there was a couple big plays that he had that were really kind of erased from history because of a penalty. And, the first game last year, you know, I mean, he has a pick that in that game, I think he might have even had a dropped interception. And then seeing him out here in training camp, you see a guy that's really stepped into the role of great communicator. I mean, him being voted as captain is just, you know, that tells you everything you need to know of what this guy's been doing, especially the last, you know, year or so. And, you know, seeing him being able to do as much as he can do, he gives us so much flexibility, being able to play in the middle of the field, being able to be down, being able to blitz, being able to stop the run. He can play in the box. I mean, the guy's got phenomenal ball skills. I mean, you look at his production, you look at his ability to take the right angles, you know, whether it's tackling or going to break up a pass or going to try to pick one off. I mean, there's not many guys that can do it like him. And, you know, as far as Sunday goes, I mean, we're going to see. We're going to just keep going through the week and kind of seeing where everything is. I wish I could say, hey, every guy's 100% that we're talking about, but in the NFL, a lot of things change in a short period of time.
Thank you, Adam.
Adam, all this uncertainty about what it's going to be like without the preseason and all that, do you think it benefits one side of the ball more than the other?
It's hard to say. I'll let you know on Sunday after the game if I notice anything. But, I mean, right now I couldn't tell you that.
We'll do two more for Coach.
Adam, you brought up Herndon a few times when we talked to you unsolicited. I think yesterday you said you think kind of people might be forgetting about him coming back. What can he mean for this offense, you know, if he can play 16 games?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a position of when you have mismatches that the tight end position can create, whether it be linebackers or safeties, and that guy can get open and man-to-man versus those players. That's an advantage. That's where you start seeing more zone. It's where you start seeing more like you got a guy that can flex out or stretch the field vertically and he can win one-on-one matchups. Defensive coordinators stop putting linebackers and safeties on them. Now all of a sudden you're getting cover two, you're getting quarters, you're getting middle field open coverages to where the box is lighter in the run game. You know, they don't want to put a safety on a tight end that is a dominant type player and that has vertical speed. I think Chris is somebody that really is a game-changing type player because he can force the defense to have to make a decision. If they want to play man-to-man, all right, we'll see how good he is. And, you know, if we start hooking up on throws all over the field, then now all of a sudden you have to change the way you play. And in my experience, a tight end that is effective in the passing game, and I think Chris is unique in the sense of he's a good pass protector and he does a really good job in the run game. So it's hard to just say when he's in the game, hey, they're just doing this, because we have the whole gamut. And, you know, when you got a guy like that and he can force the defense to change what they're doing, that's very beneficial. And him not being here last year, I think the guys that were playing did a great job, but Chris is unique. He can do a lot of stuff and he can cause a lot of problems for teams.
You mentioned his pass protection. How much of a difference can that make for the offense and just the overall protection?
Well, I mean, it's not something when you got a guy like Chris, it's not something you want to make a living on. But at the same time, keeping the defense guessing of, is he staying in? Is he going out? What are they doing with this guy? When you at least have to account for him of, hey, if he's in and he's working on an end, whether it's with a tackle or he's by himself, if guys don't go, hey, that's an easy win for me. If they're actually worried about the guy as far as a pass protector, that's an advantage for us, and it makes it hard on the defense.
Is there anything else for Coach? All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam.
Have a good one.
Thank you.